Organizing your drive is simple as creating folders to put your files in and making sure the files you want are in the right folders. Couple things over here on the menu. My Drive. If you click on My Drive, anything in this window here is anything that is in your drive, which means you created it, you shared it with someone. Shared with Me are all different things that are shared with you. And by default, if someone shares something with you, it appears under Shared with Me. So if you have students creating assignments or folders and sharing them with you, you will originally find them in Shared with Me and not in My Drive. If you want to move something for your Shared with Me into My Drive, all you have to do is click on it and drag it, and see where I have them over My Drive? It says Move Assignment, Design, and Schedule. I let go, and it says, if I go to My Drive, there it is, Assessment, Design, and Schedule. Another thing to look at, anything that says shared next to it, whether it's a document or a folder, means it's shared. It's either shared, I've shared it with someone, or someone shared it with me. So for example, this PD evaluation folder, Anna Otto shared it with me. Assessment and Design Schedule, Carolyn Hughes shared it with me. Now you might say, well, what's it doing in My Drive? Well, I moved it into My Drive. And the reason why is I organize things by folders. And if I have stuff that a folder that someone shared with me, I want to be able to see it in My Drive. Sure, you can go into Shared with Me and click on it and see everything people have shared with you. But for organizational purposes, notice I can't open up Shared with Me and see all the folders are shared with me. But I can open up My Drive and see all the folders that people have shared with me in My Drive. And notice under My Drive, it's all the folders. It's not all the documents. So this is a neat way to help you organize. So once again, if someone shares a whole folder with me, I will click it and I will drag it over to My Drive so I have it in my folder structure. Another thing in My Drive, when there's the little icon of the person here, that means that folder is shared. Now it's possibly that I created it and shared it with someone, or someone else shared it with me and I moved into My Drive. See for here, 10-minute tech, shared, I'm the owner. So let's talk about how students can share things with you in terms of turning in assignments and organizing. There are a couple different ways. You could go in and create a folder, and this is how you'd create a folder for anything. But you could go in and create a folder for each of your students, and you should have a standard naming convention. So I always would do last name first. So, because if you didn't notice, these are all in alphabetical order. So just say Joe Smith, and I hit create. Now I have a folder named Joe Smith. If I want to share this folder with Joe Smith or anyone, all I have to do is check next to the folder and come up to More and Share, or the plus sign with the little guy's head. Now we talked about sharing settings in one of the other trainings, so I'm not going to go through those right now. So if I want to share this with someone, I type in their name, and what do I want them to be able to do? Do I want them to be able to edit it or view it? Now it's a folder, so there's no can comment choice because you can't comment on a folder. Now if this is a folder that you want students to be able to put stuff in that they can edit and work on, you want them to be able to edit it. Once again, you can notify them by email or not, and share and save. If you don't notify them by email, you'll get this message about skipping this sending an email notification. That's okay. And then I hit done, and I can double check what I want. Julie can edit. Done. And now if you notice, there's the little sharing guy under Joe Smith. And if I scroll down, there is Joe Smith. So you as a teacher could create a folder for each student to put their work in if you so desired. Now, if you teacher of maybe second grade or younger, I might recommend doing this. You only have one class, and then you know that it's done correctly. But if you have third grade students or older, what I would do is I would have them create a folder and share it with you. then they're creating their folder, you're not creating 30 folders, and they share them with you. I wouldn't create one big class folder and have everybody put stuff in it, because if you give editing rights to that folder, then kids will be able to edit each other's documents, which you don't necessarily want. So what my recommendation is for your students is to have them create their own folders. And it depends on what you want. You could have one folder, and I would always do their name, last name first, because for your organization that will help. And you could do Joe Smith, and you could do a math folder. So you could have Joe Smith do a math folder. You could have Joe Smith do a homework folder. You could have Joe Smith do a language arts folder. It really depends on how much you think you're going to use Google Docs and how much information you want in your folder. And then you would have the kids, and this just takes some teaching, and the kids can do this. Have them check off the folder, go to sharing, and then they would share it with you. They would type your name in and give you editing rights. Okay? So just as organizational piece, you could have a main Joe Smith folder if you wanted to, and it depends on how you want to organize. You could create a folder. See, right now I'm in my Smith and my Joe Smith folder. I could create a folder within Joe Smith folder and call it, I'd still have them put their name in it, Smith Joe Math. And the beauty of it, if you do it this way, it's got the same sharing features as the Joe Smith folder. It's called parent-child. So anything that's in this Joe Smith folder is going to be automatically shared with you, so they don't have to go through the sharing again. So it depends on how you want them to set it up. If you just want to see one main folder and then have them put subfolders in it, or have them put one main folder and they could just put all their documents in it. So basically, your setting up is really up to you and your students. But I just wanted to make sure you understand is that you can put folders within an already existing folder. And once you do so, notice it says, didn't just say create, it says create and share. And this folder has the same sharing rights, and I can show that to you. See, it's shared with Julie. Why? Because it's inside the Joe Smith main folder, and the sharing rights trickle down. Now the same thing works with documents. So just say you've got your folders for your kids, for them to put their work in for you, and you might say, okay, well, how do I make sure that I can access their work, that they don't put it, they do put inside their folder? It does take some training, but after a couple times the kids will get it. And if the document that you're trying to grade is in their folder and they need a grade, I'm sure they will be more than happy to put it in for you. So you can do one of two things. You can show them that if they open the folder that you want the document to be in, and then go create the document, it's going to create the document in the folder. It says the created item will have the same sharing permissions as the selected folder. Great. They don't have to go in and share with you again because it's in a folder that's already shared with you. So I hit create and share, and I'm just going to call it sharing test so you can see. And if I go back, here's sharing test in my Joe Smith folder. If I check it out and go look at the sharing features, it's shared with Julie. I didn't have to go into the individual document and share it. There's another way you can do this as well. If your kids forget and they are not inside that folder where you want them to turn the work into, if you do create document, and I'll just call it sharing 2, and you go back to my drive, they're sharing 2. You can do one of two things. You can check off the folder, check off the document, and go to the folder, which is move to, and then they can just move to what folder you want it in. And now you're saying, okay, and if I look into my Smith Joe folder, and I look at sharing 2, I can look at the sharing rights, and it is shared with Julie. So it's really a time saver for you to create a folder or different folders that your students share with you, so you don't have to create a ton of folders, and teach them to either open up the folder they want to save it in before they create the document, or after they create the document, just make sure they move it into the folder. And then if the sharing features of the folder are set up correctly, they never have to do the sharing again to have the document shared with you.